Alright, today's the day. I'm going to start on the first actual project on my van, and that's going to be the fixed lofted bed. So in my last video I said that this was really important to me. I don't want to be messing around with moving pieces of a bed and setting it up each and every night. So it's going to be a fixed bed, and its location is going to be based off of bike storage. So I measured up my bike. I had a couple friends measure their bikes. I'm going to make sure that I have enough depth and enough height to fit my bike in here. And from there, that's going to just determine where the bed's going to be. If I had a welder, I'd probably be doing this frame out of metal. But since I don't, I'm going to be doing it out of wood. And pretty much all the materials, all the wood and all the hardware that I bought for this project I got right at Lowe's. But other than that, let's get into it. To start this project, I did a lot of measuring. I wanted to make sure I left myself enough room for the garage, but not take away from more living space than I needed to. I'm also already starting to feel the pain of working in a space that isn't square or level. Once I got my measurements, I cut my 2x6 support boards that will be attached to the walls of the van. I plan on attaching them using carriage bolts, and for this, I needed to mark the holes I needed to drill. Luckily, this van has a lot of existing holes, and I didn't need to drill new ones. I gotta say that even with a tiny pencil, it was tough to mark these holes, and I ended up measuring most of their locations instead. Then, I drilled my 3/8 holes for the carriage bolts. After a test fit, I transferred the holes to the other piece and started attaching the boards to the wall. Along with the 3/8 by 2-inch carriage bolts, I'm using nylon lock nuts and standard washers. This ended up being a real challenge and took me much longer than expected. Not only were the bolts not grabbing once the nylon nuts started getting tight, there's so little room behind this panel to attach the nuts in the first place. For the grabbing issue, I ended up clamping a vise grips to the head of the bolt, which held it in place until it was tight enough, and this worked out really well. For the space issue, I didn't figure out any tricks for that one. That was a lot more involved than I expected. So let's see if I learned something on this side and see if I can get this side done a lot quicker. And it should be pretty easy from there, because then it's all just woodworking. It took me a while, but I finally got the 2x6s attached, and they are very sturdy. Next step was to cut the boards that will run the width of the van and the long direction of the bed. The Ram Promaster is nice for camper vans because a full-size mattress fits perfectly widthwise. I cut 2 2x6s and 2 2x4s, followed by some 1x3s. One of the 1x3s had to be ripped to 2 1/4 to make the height work for the rest of the plan. You'll see that I used the 2x6s on the ends and the 2x4s in the middle. Between the two 2x4s, I added the ripped 1x3 for strength. I then added a pine 1x3 to the back and an oak 1x3 to the front. Unlike the center 1x3 that I cut down, I left these full height so they would hold the mattress in place. At this point, I'm very happy with the way this is turning out. Next step was to cut the 1x3 slats that will run the width of the mattress. I spaced these out about 3 inches and simply attach them with 1 screw on each side. So this platform's turning out really strong. Last night I did run out of wood, just barely, to finish doing the slats, so I did get a new piece. I'm gonna cut those up, finish this platform up, but after doing some measurements and looking at things, I may make a major change to this. But let me finish up the slats and then I'll make a decision on what I'm going to do. Alright, so when I started building this platform, My main priority was making sure I had enough room to fit my bike in here and friends' bikes. But as I've been working on it, I realized that I want as much room on the bed as possible to be able to like sit up and be able to get into it comfortably without having to, you know, step on something. And I also have another idea for something else further down the road that it would make more sense if the bed was a little bit lower. So I was looking, and I definitely have enough clearance for my bike, and I did get some friends to measure their bikes because I want to make sure that I can fit a 29er in here and like a large, maybe an extra large. But even if it doesn't fit totally perfect in here, I can always put it in a different way, lean it or whatever, if it's just like a short trip or whatever. My main goal is to make sure my bike fits in here, which is a 27.5 medium, and there's plenty of room where I can lower this bed, so that's what I'm gonna do. So the right way to do this would be to take off the platform, take these 2x6s off, and then either adjust the holes or cut the top over on the workbench. But I don't want to deal with these bolts again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the platform off, and then I'm just going to come in here with the circular saw and cut about an inch off the top of here, and then put the platform back on, and hopefully I don't have any issues with that. We'll see.
After making a line on each board, I set the depth of my saw to 1.5 inches and began cutting. I wasn't able to fit the circular saw in the back part of the van, so I had to finish this off with a wood chisel, which worked out totally fine. This made a huge mess, and I'll probably never get all the sawdust cleaned up, but I did my best and then put the platform back on and attached it.
So I'm gonna probably take it out right away, but I want to make sure that the mattress fits and everything. I actually had this mattress because I used to rent my house out on Airbnb. If any of you are thinking about creating a space for renting out on Airbnb and you haven't bought or you don't already have the beds, I highly recommend getting the same size bed for every room. I thought it would be cool to put a bunk bed in the second room, and it really is just a pain in the ass to like make both beds actually, and then it's 2 different sizes. So then I had 3 different sizes, so I had to manage 3 different size bedding, and it was just not worth it. So if I do end up putting my house back on Airbnb, I'm just gonna put a second queen bed in that room, and that way it's a lot simpler. But anyways, I have this mattress. It's gonna be for the van, at least for now, and we'll see how it fits.
After getting the mattress in place, I had to make sure I was able to fit all the things I wanted to under it. And of course I had to get my thumbnail photo. This project ended up costing me a total of $237, $142 for the wood and hardware, and $95 for the mattress, even though I already had it, bringing my grand total for the van build to $247. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe because I have so much more work I'll be doing to my travel van, and I look forward to sharing it with you.